Well, howdy folks, welcome to Curt Ridge's Review Roundup. Today I'll be reviewing Dragon Quest XI, Echoes of an Elusive Age. This is the PS4 version. Dragon Quest, for me, has always been the lesser series between it and Final Fantasy, at least during my childhood. Here was this little RPG from Enix, then known as Dragon Warrior, that had similar graphics, but everything was just a little more cutesy, a little more colorful. The fights were in first person, which I disliked, much preferred seeing your characters on screen during combat, and everything just felt lesser than its square, soft cousin. Over the years, a surprising shift occurred when, after all these years of the occasional localization, anime and JRPGs were now seen by companies to be something us North Americans enjoyed. And so, we finally got Dragon Quest instead of Dragon Warrior, complete with the sweet Akira Toriyama designs and art that had really had no business being replaced by generic Dungeons & Dragons designs. Another shift was that whereas Final Fantasy became much more invested in reinventing itself continuously instead of perfecting itself, Dragon Quest just got better. Each successive game brought new things to the table without losing touch of why it was so popular to begin with, and so we now have Dragon Quest XI, Echoes of an Elusive Age, a game best described as classic Dragon Quest with some Chrono Trigger elements thrown in for good measure. You are an orphan prince whose mother left Moses style in a basket only to be raised by nice people from a small village who, when you come of age, set off to discover your roots and on the way meet strange and interesting characters and maybe save the world from an evil Dark Lord of pure evil? The story might sound simple, and it is exactly what it needs to be. Where it really shines through, though, is just how damn charming everything is. Most enemies I would rather pet or befriend than kill, but I need me some of that sweet, sweet XP. I'll address some of the nitpicks first because I have to be objective. I find the menus a little small and bare bones. I would have much preferred a proper menu screen. Apart from that, I guess I really hate not having more hours in the day to be able to play this more, which is absolutely the game's fault for being this fun. Everything here is AAA quality. I love the art style. This warm painterly cel shading thing they have going on is just gorgeous. The music feels like PS1 music, the sound effects like Super Nintendo sound effects. It shouldn't work, but it does. The various accents are just darling. The characters are all fun and still have their own stories and their own struggles, and I'm invested in absolutely everything. Long story short, this is the best Dragon Quest game so far, so get it. It's one of those rare experiences that are just, according to me, perfect. I give this game a 10 out of 10. Next up, I played the Blob 2. This is the Switch version. Having not played the first game in this series, I came into it blind, and I was pleasantly surprised by an experience that feels more like a kid-friendly cross between Super Mario Sunshine and Jet Set Radio, where your titular Blob character has to go around and bring color back to its world, defeat enemies, unlock new levels, do time challenge, unlock more levels, defeat more enemies, and so on and so forth. It's an interesting mix to say the least. I like the designs, the colors are vibrant, the music is decent, and this is a fun little time sinker, and that's all it needs to be. I give the Blob 2 7 out of 10. And finally, a retro review. I'm going to talk about Dragon Warrior, also known as Dragon Quest overseas, for the NES. Here we have the very first Dragon Quest. Then named Dragon Warrior because Americans are more macho than them pansy bishunin the Japanese like on the NES, which is a classic and nothing will ever change that. However, some of the design choices have aged really badly, such as different commands to open chests and doors, go downstairs and speak, etc., where Final Fantasy understood that one button could do all that and not waste too much time with like menus and selections and naming things. It's fun to see where it all started. A lot of the elements here just work and are used by later games to much greater effect, but this is a rough sketch of things to come. It's amazing to see some good things haven't changed, however, as a lot of the monsters here are back throughout most of the series, and it does have a warm place in a lot of people's hearts, including mine. Without the nostalgia goggles, however, this is a solid little game that is a little bit unclear as to how one needs to proceed at first, but that does blossom into an epic adventure if you give it a chance. I recommend trying this one, but I could never really say this was the best game in the Dragon Quest series. I give this game a modern grade of 7.5 out of 10. Well, that's it for now. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time on the Review Roundup.